My new name. Good morning, Shelter. I like it. It's got a nice ring to it. By now you're probably wondering why I haven't done anything. Stalling, perhaps. But no, I've got it all under control. There is a lot of preparation needed, which is why I'm about to go and inspect the tube station at Charing Cross. I walked around for a while watching them. There were hundreds of them, making the whole place look old and scruffy. I went down the Strand, and they were resting in all the doorways, even in the banks and the law courts. One cheeky little bugger even came up to me for some change. There is no goddamn way. 6 weeks at Streamsville, get him dressed in some khaki, discipline him. My old occupation, of course. My mission in life, you could say. And I did it well for a long 29 years. And then they go and chuck me out on medical grounds. I'm 47 and as fit as a butcher's dog. But that isn't the real reason. And I know it is. It's because their assignment is the polar opposite to mine. They want to flood the entire country with criminals and drunks. I'll stop them, though. I'll win. I know it. I've even started preparing. I also now have a house in Mornington Place. It's quaint and it has a marvellous built-in freezer under the floorboards. Perfect for, well, storage. It's begun. The recruiting. And it was easy as falling off a log. My first recruit I found in a doorway at least a mile away from Camden Station. It was cold and wet and windy. I squatted down in front of him and smiled my best do-gooder smile. I told him I ran a hostel for homeless on Flinders Street. He asked me if there were any chance of a spare bed and a small bite to eat. He'd fallen for it. With a sympathizing expression, I explained that we were full. I, I let him think about it. And then, really casually, I suggested my flat for a night. He was unsure at first, but then he was trotting behind me at my heels like a poodle. All went as planned. Shelter. My second client was a female. I spotted her coming out of Regent Palace Hotel. She'd probably snuck in for the bathroom. The real question was how she got past security. It was amazing. I pretended to be hotel security before letting her off the hook if she came home with me. Everything from my expression to my language to the way I spoke was spot on. The rest was simple. Anyway, killing is easy. The hard bit is disposing the body and making sure to not lay a trail. Patent officers could use to locate the criminal. Since disposing of the body I can do. My new apartment, 9 Mornington Place, has a perfect place under the floorboards. I like to refer it as my large built-in freezer. Even on the hottest days, it will stay very cool down there. Perfect for storage. Now, avoiding a pattern. Now that's what makes it tricky. You mustn't get complacent. For example, if all your victims are black, the officers will probably think that you hate black people. Or if all the bodies were found in a shed, they assume. All these little traps help the law point to the person who's committing the crimes. And you must stay alert. And you have to make sure that nobody even gets the smallest of ideas that it might be you. Check and clean your equipment every time. Run through the normal procedures. My second recruit was female, and that's why I picked her. It splits apart from my first. Changes my direction. Of course, nobody is going to find my recruits. 3. A significant number. It's around everywhere. The 3 Musketeers, 3 Wishes, 3 Blind Mice, and 3 Cheers for me. I've had 3 recruits now. I've arranged them under the floorboards, the army way. Tallest on the left and shortest on the right. They all look quite smart. Even more now because I cut their hair. I'm on the hunt for some proper shoes for them. Some good quality boots perhaps. I walked into Gloucester Avenue and down the steps that led to the towpath at Regent's Canal, when I spotted him, my third recruit. I could tell he was smart, this one, not too easy to persuade. For starters, he knew there was no hostel on Flinders Street, but I persisted, pushing that it was brand new. We talked as we walked back to my flat. He told me he'd tried the army. That's when I became genuinely interested. He shrugged and he explained to me that he couldn't stand it. Thick sods bawling at him all day, every day. He complained about the food, and I just nodded, telling him it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. I was, however, seething, but I couldn't drop my act over what a recruit said. He joined another army, anyway. A small army that doesn't rely on volunteers. The Camden Horizontals. He leaned down to pat Sappho, and I let him have it with the kitty captain. I was trained to kill, remember? I know the exact spot to go for. It has happened again. I was on my way to inspect Theatreland when two dossers approached me. One, the scruffier of the two, asked me for change. I responded in my usual way, and I distinctly heard them laughing. I hope for their sakes that they manage to retain that sense of humour, because they'll need it quite soon. I never forget a face, and our next meeting will prove far more amusing for me than for them. By golly, it will. Shelter.